Hello, I'm Dr. Sarah Speck, and I'd like to welcome you to our first series of healthy cooking videos sponsored by Swedish Heart and Vascular Institute and the John Locke Jr. Trust. I'll be joined by one of Seattle's top chefs working in a kitchen just like one that you would have in your home.
I was inspired at a very early age by my grandmother. When I was a young child, my grandmother would host various members of her extended family for dinner every Sunday. Sometimes it would be as few as 12 people, sometimes it would be as many as 25. No matter how many people came, she always prepared a beautiful meal for everyone. As I grew older and decided that I wanted to pursue a career as a chef, I was able to draw on that and remember how much care and how much of her heart she put into everything that she did. And so that's one of the values that we try to instill here in this restaurant. We like to use a lot of different ingredients. Sometimes they come from around the world, sometimes they come from around the corner. Mostly what we're looking for is just trying to get the best ingredient that we can. I like to be able to talk with the farmer that grew the vegetables or the person that actually is involved in the animal husbandry and raising all of our meats, or perhaps even the fisherman that caught our fish. The key to healthy eating, food should be as fresh as possible. Food should not be cooked ahead of time. In the restaurant here, we don't like to cook a lot of things ahead of time. We like to cook them on the spot as the guest is ready for it, so that all of the vitamins and all of the nutrients are still locked into the freshness of the food. I have a heated pan here, and I'll start with my olive oil. And I just use enough to coat the bottom of the pan. Then from there, I add my minced celery. And some shallots. And I'm just going to saute it just a touch. While that's going, I have the raw farro right here. And I'll put about a cup into this. Essentially what I'm going to do is cook this like a risotto. And I'm almost sauteing it for just a second here. From then I'm going to put it into the oven. And they'll be in there for just a couple of minutes. So now that these are a little bit toasted, I'm going to put it back onto the stove. And I have some of our own house-made vegetable stock, but you can use a vegetable broth or a chicken broth that you can buy at the store as well. And I'm adding enough to cover it, and I'm just going to let this simmer for about 45 minutes.
Great. Uncovered.
Exactly. So while they're cooking, I'll put a little bit of olive oil into the pan here.
And do you choose olive oil mostly for the sauteing that you do?
Yes, I do. Olive oil is very healthy, it's very light, and it gives a good flavor as it cooks as well. So this is about 8 porcini mushrooms, and they're just going to go into the pan, beautiful, facing down. The mushrooms are just about done. I have these beautiful porcini mushrooms that I've sauteed, and I'm going to add just a little bit of fresh herbs. In this case, I have some fresh thyme that I'm going to sprinkle in here. And I'm a big lover of shallots, as you can probably guess, right? But if you don't have a shallot at home, onions work just as well. And I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of shallot in there.
And just saute it again briefly?
Exactly.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm going to take my local kale. I'm just going to sprinkle this in here, just on top of the mushrooms. They don't even necessarily need to hit the bottom of the pan because they're just going to kind of steam on top of the mushrooms. I'm going to pour a little bit of this vegetable stock. And then I'll just put a cover on it for a couple of minutes. So the nice thing about this dish is that it is completely vegan. And I'm not using any butter or any animal products whatsoever to prepare the dish. But at the same time, I still do want to have a certain sense of thickness to the farro. And what I'll do instead is I'll use this fresh carrot juice. It doesn't take very much. And as you can see, it brightens the color up as well, so it makes it more visually appealing.
Sure it does.
Meanwhile, my mushrooms and kale should be just about done. So as you can see,
glorious.
The greens are nicely sweated, and there's a little bit of juice, and some of that juice is from the mushrooms, some of it is from the kale, and some of it is from the vegetable stock as well, but it all has a really wonderful, earthy, yet clean flavor. So as you can see now, this is starting to thicken nicely.
Beautiful.
At this point, I'm going to add all of my parsley. Generally, for the lighter herbs like parsley, I like to add them at the end because the flavors are a little bit more delicate than other herbs. Another thing that I like to do, because of all the starches that are in the grains, is add just a touch of lemon juice. And this is some fresh squeezed lemon juice that I made earlier today. And the acid in the lemon juice acts as a foil to all those starches on your palate, so that as you taste it, you taste that extra bright, clean flavor.
Interesting.
So I'd like to plate this now. And very simply, we're just taking the farro, laying it onto the plate. And as you can see, the carrot juice has reduced nicely.
Beautiful.
That little bit of olive oil that was left in the pan is mixed in pretty well as well. And then we just take our leafy greens and our mushrooms and lay them in there.
Beautiful.
Something very healthy and very fun to eat as well.
Beautiful. Won't you share a taste with me?
I'd love to. Let's enjoy it.
Thank you. Oh, what a blend. This certainly is an inspiration for me to sit down and have this with my family. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Well, thank you very much.